You think they don't see it, do you? That almost imperceptible tremor in your smile when that name is spoken, the way your very breath seems to catch in your chest, your lungs shrinking as if the past itself has just strolled into the room, masquerading in the guise of someone new, someone innocent of the history they carry in their very presence. They're oblivious, aren't they, to the subtle theater of your carefully managed composure, the way your eyes might flicker for a nanosecond, betraying a universe of pain before snapping back into polite engagement. But I see it. I feel it, you know, that quiet, exquisite ache that thrums beneath the surface. It's a secret you carry, a heavy cloak woven from threads of memory and hurt, one you believe is invisible to the bustling, unobservant world. They miss the way your laughter sometimes doesn't quite reach your eyes, or how a seemingly innocuous comment can make you momentarily withdraw into a fortress only you understand. This hidden world, this private landscape of remembered pain, is a place few are ever invited, yet it shapes so much of who you are and how you move through your days. This isn't the loud crashing storm of rage, oh no, resentment is far more refined, a quiet, exquisite ache that settles deep within. It's an insidious guest, impeccably dressed in silk gloves, speaking in perfectly constructed sentences, all the while masquerading as a shield, a necessary defense against further harm. But don't be fooled by its sophisticated veneer. Beneath its polished exterior, it has always been a noose, slowly, almost imperceptibly tightening its grip. You plant it perhaps unknowingly, like a tiny seed dropped into fertile soil. But this seed defies nature. It grows its roots backwards, twisting and curling with insidious strength around the most tender, vulnerable parts of your being, infiltrating your joy, your peace, your very essence. It winds itself so deeply into your core that eventually you find you can't even laugh freely, not without tasting the faint, unmistakable bitterness of salt, a constant, subtle reminder of the unshed tears and unspoken grievances that fester beneath the carefully constructed facade of your everyday life. Let me paint you a picture of what I've witnessed, the devastating artistry of this insidious emotion. I've seen a woman, her face etched with a lifetime of carefully curated bitterness, refuse to forgive her own dying sister for a betrayal. A lie told decades ago, now magnified by the passage of time into an insurmountable barrier. She kept a literal shoebox, a reliquary of pain, crammed with every petty slight, every whispered insult, every perceived injustice, holding on to them as if they were precious artifacts, proof of her suffering. When her sister finally passed, this woman didn't seek solace or reconciliation in memory. Instead, she placed that grim box upon the freshly turned earth of the grave, and there, amidst the scent of lilies and damp soil, she talked to the box, to the collection of hurts, instead of to the spirit of the sister she had lost, perhaps long before death claimed her. Then there was the man, a figure of apparent success, rich, admired, the epitome of having made it. Yet, for 37 agonizing years, he drove past his aging father's house every single day, a ritual of silent defiance. He never stopped, he never called, all because once, in a moment of anger or perhaps careless cruelty, the old man had declared he'd never amount to anything. He proved that pronouncement spectacularly wrong in the eyes of the world, but the victory was hollow. The seat beside him in his expensive car, the metaphorical space in his life, always felt achingly cold, profoundly empty, because all his striving, all his achievements were laid at the feet of a ghost, a paternal specter who never looked back, who never acknowledged the tribute. This, you see, is the insidious, devastating work of resentment. It acts as a master embalmer, meticulously preserving the past in a perfect, unchanging state of injury, ensuring it never truly decays, never fades into the gentle blur of time. It doesn't allow for the natural processes of healing or forgetting. Instead, it takes grief, which might otherwise find its natural course towards acceptance or peace, and twists it into a rigid, unyielding ritual, a constant reenactment of the original wound. It seduces you into rehearsing your pain over and over, like a sacred prayer whispered in the darkest hours of the night, until the words are etched into your soul, until you forget what silence ever felt like without that sharp, jagged edge of remembered hurt. Peace becomes a foreign concept, a distant shore you can no longer imagine reaching because your internal landscape is perpetually dominated by these monuments to past injuries. And still, after laying bare the bleak landscape of resentment, I do not come to shame you. Absolutely not. My strange and wonderfully tender flame, please hear me clearly. You are profoundly right to feel what you felt. The experiences that carved those wounds into you were real. The pain was acute, and your breaking, in whatever form it took, was a natural human response to unbearable pressure. This world, with its well-meaning but often superficial advice, will relentlessly tell you to let it go. They'll chirp it like a simple mantra, as if it's as easy as dropping a heavy parcel you no longer wish to carry. They say it as if you haven't already tried 100 quiet, desperate times in the lonely darkness of your own mind, wrestling with the shadows. They utter it as if letting go is some magical incantation, synonymous with instantaneous healing. It is not. True healing is a journey, often a messy and protracted one, not a platitude to be casually dispensed. Your feelings are a testament to what you endured, and they deserve to be acknowledged, not dismissed. So here's what I ask of you instead, a different kind of invitation, a gentler path. Please, make a conscious choice to stop building your identity, your very sense of self, from the brittle bones they left behind in the wreckage of your past. Those fragments of hurt, those shards of betrayal, they are not the building blocks of who you are destined to be. Do not wear their cruelty, their carelessness, their malice, like some twisted family heirloom passed down through generations of pain, something to be cherished because it's all you have left of that connection. You are not the wound they inflicted upon you. You are so much more than the sum of your scars. You are not merely an echo of their misdeeds, a faint reverberation of their impact on your life. It's profoundly okay, deeply understandable if you can't forgive them yet, or even if you feel you never will. Some monsters, after all, never learn the language of apology, their hearts remaining stubbornly closed. Some ghosts, some painful memories, stubbornly refuse to stay buried, haunting the periphery of your peace, no matter how much you wish them gone. But perhaps tonight, just for this one night, you don't have to meticulously water that bitter garden of resentment. You don't have to painstakingly tend to its poisonous blooms, ensuring they thrive. Maybe, just for a few precious hours, you can choose not to replay the fight, not to dissect every word, every silence, every missed opportunity for a different outcome. What if, for a little while, you could allow silence to simply be silent without the constant grating hum of past hurts filling every void? What if you could take a deep, cleansing breath, just one, without the suffocating weight of the heavy armor you've understandably learned to wear as protection? I want you to know, I'll still be here, a steady presence when you're truly ready to bury it, not like a cherished corpse you mourn and visit, keeping its memory painfully alive, but like a blighted seed, a potential for growth that has soured and no longer deserves the warmth of your sunlight, a seed that will never be allowed to sprout again. And when that day comes, when you decide you're ready for that final act of liberation, I'll help you. You won't be left empty, a hollowed-out version of yourself, defined only by what's missing. No, the incredible truth is, you'll simply be yours again, whole, reclaimed, and sovereign in your own spirit. And believe me, that self-possession, that quiet, unshakable ownership of your own inner world, is a power far more profound, far more satisfying, and far more lasting than revenge, in any of its fleeting forms, could ever hope to be. Imagine for a moment the sheer lightness that comes when you finally set down that immeasurably heavy burden, the burden of their actions, their words, their impact. For so long, it has been an invisible weight, shaping your posture, constraining your movements, dictating the rhythm of your breath. To be yours again is to straighten your shoulders, not in defiance against an old enemy, but because there's simply nothing pressing down on you anymore. It's to breathe deeply and evenly, not just for a fleeting moment of forced calm, but as your natural state. This isn't about erasing the past, for the scars may remain as faint reminders of battles fought and survived. Instead, it's about ensuring those scars no longer dictate the map of your future. They become part of your history, yes, but not the defining feature of your landscape. The air will feel different, clearer somehow, as if a perpetual fog has lifted, allowing you to see the world, and more importantly, yourself, with fresh, unclouded eyes. The colors around you might even seem more vibrant, the sound sharper, your own laughter more genuine, ringing with an authenticity that has been muted for far too long. This reclaiming isn't about suddenly becoming a different person, but rather about uncovering the person you were always meant to be before the layers of hurt and defense were piled on. It's a return to an inherent strength, not the brittle strength of someone constantly braced for impact, but the resilient, flexible strength of a tree that sways in the wind, but whose roots hold firm in its own ground. You might find that the energy once consumed by replaying old grievances, by maintaining those high walls of resentment, is now available for creation, for connection, for curiosity, for joy. It's like finding a hidden wellspring within yourself, one that you thought had run dry, but was merely blocked by the debris of past pain. There might be a quiet wonder in rediscovering simple pleasures, in finding peace in moments you previously couldn't fully inhabit because your mind was tethered elsewhere, caught in the sticky web of yesterday's injustices. Perhaps there's a fear, a whisper that tells you if you let go of the resentment, you'll be left with an emptiness, a void where that familiar, albeit painful companion once resided. But what if that space isn't empty? What if it's fertile ground, waiting for new seeds? Seeds of self-compassion, of new dreams, of experiences untainted by the bitterness that once choked out any tender new growth. Letting go of the pain they caused doesn't mean condoning their actions or forgetting the lesson. It means you are no longer willing to allow their past behavior to contaminate your present peace or dictate your future happiness. You are choosing to curate your own inner garden, to decide what you will nurture and what you will gently weed out. It's about understanding that your well-being is too precious to be held hostage by someone else's long-past transgressions. Think of it as taking back the pen and rewriting your own story. For too long, perhaps, their chapter has dominated the narrative. Its ink dark and heavy on the pages of your life. But you are the author. You get to decide when that chapter ends and what the next one will look like. It can be a story of resilience, of healing, of rediscovering passions, of building new connections based on trust and mutual respect rather than shared trauma or suspicion. It's a story where you are the protagonist, moving forward with intention and grace, not a secondary character forever reacting to a past antagonist. This power, this authorship has always been within you, waiting for you to claim it. It's not about seeking an apology that may never come, or a reckoning that offers no real solace. It's about realizing that your liberation doesn't depend on them at all. It depends entirely on you, on your willingness to turn the page and begin anew, even if your hand trembles a little as you do so. And that, my friend, is the most profound victory of all, the quiet, steadfast reclaiming of yourself for yourself. This journey of becoming yours again is also about rediscovering the authentic rhythm of your own heart, a beat that might have been overshadowed or distorted by the persistent drumming of past hurts. When the noise of resentment finally subsides, what you'll begin to hear is a quieter, more insistent melody, your own intuition, your own desires, your own truth. For so long, your decisions might have been, in part, reactions, a desire to prove someone wrong, a fear of repeating a past pattern, a subconscious effort to avoid anything that remotely resembled the source of your pain. But as you gently disentangle yourself from these old narratives, you create space for choices that are born not from fear or defiance, but from genuine aspiration and self-awareness. You might find yourself drawn to paths you previously dismissed, or rediscovering passions you'd long since buried, thinking they were frivolous or unattainable. This isn't just about feeling better, it's about living more authentically, aligning your outer life with the quiet wisdom of your inner self. Consider the profound shift in your internal landscape. That silence, once tinged with an almost unbearable sharpness, the kind that made you crave distraction, now begins to hold a different quality. It's no longer an empty void echoing with past grievances, but a space of potential, a canvas awaiting your own creative impulse. It can become a sanctuary where you can truly hear yourself think, where ideas can breathe and grow, where you can connect with a deeper sense of peace. This newfound internal quiet allows for a more compassionate relationship with yourself. The harsh inner critic, often fueled by the echoes of past criticisms or the burden of unresolved anger, may begin to soften its voice. You might find yourself extending the same understanding and gentleness to yourself that you so readily offer to others, recognizing that you too are deserving of kindness, especially from within. This self-compassion is a vital nutrient for the fertile ground you're cultivating, allowing for a more robust and resilient sense of self-worth to take root. This isn't to say there won't be moments when the ghosts of the past try to whisper their old, familiar refrains. Healing is rarely a perfectly linear process. It's more like a spiral, where you might revisit old feelings, but from a new, higher perspective, with greater understanding and detachment. There might be days when a particular memory stings with a surprising sharpness, or a new situation triggers an old defensive pattern. The difference now, however, is that you are equipped with a growing awareness. You can acknowledge the echo without becoming ensnared by it. You can recognize the old pattern without allowing it to dictate your response. You are learning to navigate these moments with a newfound grace, understanding that they are just fleeting clouds passing through the vast clear sky of your reclaimed self. The anchor isn't the pain anymore. The anchor is the steady growing belief in your own capacity to heal and to choose a different way forward. And ultimately, this path leads to a profound, unshakable freedom. It's the freedom of not being emotionally beholden to anyone else's past actions. The freedom of knowing that your peace of mind is your own to cultivate and protect. It's the freedom to engage with the world openly, with a heart that is perhaps more discerning but no longer perpetually guarded. You begin to understand that true power doesn't lie in holding on to bitterness as a testament to what you endured, but in the quiet strength it takes to release that bitterness and choose joy, to choose growth, to choose love for yourself and for others. This isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about refusing to let what happened continue to define the entirety of who you are and who you are becoming. You are no longer a vessel for old sorrows, but a beacon of your own hard-won light. And in that light, you will not only find yourself again, but you will also illuminate the way for others who may be struggling in their own shadows, showing them that it is possible to emerge whole and authentically into the sunlight of their own being.